always known her, and she shared some information about me that I knew was accurate because I had had some lab work done several years prior with a nutritionist, and she validated that information, and she came to Sebastopol soon after. And I took her course. I had no idea what she was talking. It was all this psychic stuff, and I had been intuitive all my life, but not what I considered psychic. And so I took the course, I was fascinated, and she told me to go out and teach it. And I'm like, what am I going to teach? Well, I compiled my notes with one of the writers of my book, because she took the class also, and I learned how to see inside people's bodies. I learned how to change beliefs very quick, a very quick technology, which is what I'm very committed to doing, because it's really changed my life. And they're all different techniques that we use, like nurture the baby in the womb. It's a remote viewing technique, but it's done in connection in a theta brainwave state, where I lower my brainwave state and then I shift my consciousness to what I call creator of all. And from there, I am able to look inside the body.
Now, something like that takes an awful lot of intuition and an awful lot of a belief system in yourself.
And I changed it.
Can you give us some background in how you studied for this? I mean, how do you go through the process to be able to do something like this?
Well, there are different level of courses that she had. My teacher is Vienna Steibel, and she has evolved these courses over the past 10, 12 years. She herself has an amazing story too, because she was dying of leukemia. She had mercury toxicity. And because of that, she had always been psychic all her life, and she realized that she could set this prayer command and heal herself, and she did. They even have x-rays to show that she's still living. I mean, that she had the cancer and no longer does. And that only took her 5 minutes, which I thought was pretty darn good.
So you studied with her?
I've been studying with her. I have to be recertified every few years, and there's many, many courses that I can take to advance myself, and I have taken quite a few of them. And she's actually going to start to offer a PhD program.
You know, when you start talking about things like this, and I think oftentimes people think when they say you can look inside your body or you can do certain types of healings, maybe people will start thinking that this is a woo-woo.
Right.
But, you know, it's interesting when it comes to healing, particularly in today's world. I mean, they're learning more and more that meditation helps with healing, positive environments, getting rid of stress helps with healing. So it doesn't surprise me that someone like yourself is moving a little bit even more forward as to where your intuition is bringing you to have more insight into the body. You know, can you give some examples of what are maybe some healings that you've done or some people that have come to you?
Well, I had one man who was an a former Olympic coach, and he called me. I never even saw him in person. And we only had like 1 or 2 sessions together, but on the first session, he basically came to me on the phone for money issues. He wanted to change his beliefs around money. And as I was watching the healings, because I don't really do the healings, I call Creator all that is the healer, I'm the witness. And so I watched the energy go through his body, and I said, do you have lower back pain? And he goes, yeah, excruciating. I see the chiropractor 3 times a week. I am in so much pain. And I'm like, you didn't even tell me that was your issue. He goes, yeah, it was just money. And I said, check in now and see how your back's feeling. He goes, you know, my back's feeling a lot better. Well, it turned out by the end of the session, he had no more back pain at all, ended up doing a triathlon 3 weeks later. And here's a man who could hardly walk.
Well, what do you think in that session? I mean, when you're working with people, what is your assessment of what is taking place within them?
Well, the lower back often has to do with support or lack of support. And that's what I did, is I took a look at his childhood and the beliefs that he held around money and the lack of support that he had in really acknowledging who he is. And now he knows what he wants to do in his life, and he's all excited, and he's doing it.
So it sounds like by working with you, you changed some belief patterns.
Exactly.
And in changing the belief patterns for that moment in time that you were together, it seems like his lower back got better. I mean, that's really very mystical. Let me ask you I want to ask you another question. Can you, since you're talking about the back has to do with a certain attitude, what about the feet or the hands? Do you have any suggestions